What's wrong with me? I told myself, only once. But here I am, shoving the needle in my vein again. I've casted out everyone that was important to me. Everyone I loved. For a stupid drug. Now, no one will hear me scream.
Mikey, look, I know you didn't mean what you said to me, but you've been gone for days. When are you coming back? Call me when you can, okay? I love you.
I can't do this anymore. I'm a plague to society and everyone around me. I've become a worthless shell, a figment of who I used to be. There is no forgiving what I've done. And all I have to blame is myself. I'm so sorry. No. This video is not going to be that dark. I just had an artistic vision I wanted to portray. Are we good? Here, to make it up to you, here are some kittens. Okay, now on to the real presentation. Drugs. An impactful word. Demonized by many and praised by others, drugs are an intricate part of not only our culture, but our daily lives, as many individuals are either given certain substances to practically solve medical issues, or are criminalized for the misuse and illegal possession of those same aforementioned substances. But through the questioning of whether or not drugs hold a meaningful occupation in the heart of America, one fact about these substances remains apparent. Drugs have an incredibly noticeable impact on how we perceive our surroundings and function throughout our day-to-day lives. This project will dissect what certain drugs do to the human physicality and psychology, as well as how they do it. While on the surface, drugs may seem like a simple concept, ergo take this to feel this kind of way, the everyman may not think too far beyond that statement. However, drugs as a whole are more elaborate than one might feel comfortable considering. Essentially, we have, over the course of pharmacological research, spanning across several decades, categorized drugs into three main types. Let's start off with stimulants. Stimulants function by upregulating neurological activity within the brain. Namely, they increase the concentration of certain neurotransmitters that are sent and received through neurons in a process known as synapse. According to a chart provided by MedLinks, a subsidiary of MIT Medical, regarding the stimulant Adderall, or otherwise chemically known as amphetamine, the substance itself functions by increasing the release as well as inhibiting the reuptake of the neurotransmitters 5-HT, which is serotonin, DA, which is dopamine, and NE, which is short for norepinephrine. This chaotic, increased neurological reception in the brain leads to an incredible change in mentality, as well as physicality. Some of these changes are positive, such as a higher rate of focus, productivity, and an enrapturing sense of euphoria. However, there are also some adverse, negatively impacting changes that can occur, such as a staggering sense of anxiety, paranoia, stimulant psychosis, which is usually in higher doses, and even the possibility of brain damage with repeated use. While one might think that amphetamine, and other stimulants as well, are used solely for the recreational value, there are practical applicabilities for stimulants. Stimulants of the amphetamine type, as well as other dissociatives, can be used to treat all types of attention deficiency disorders, as well as narcolepsy and obesity. Let's evaluate another type: depressants. Depressants function by inhibiting or completely omitting the transport of certain neurotransmitters between synaptic gaps within neurons, as well as diluting certain amounts of those same neurotransmitters. For example, a famous drug in the narcotic class, codeine phosphate, functions by directly triggering opioid receptors within the brain, as well as eliciting a slurring inhibition of norepinephrine release. This inebriation of chemicals within the body achieved through the use of depressants can lead to beneficial, but possibly detrimental effects depending on individualized use. Some of these effects include extreme euphoria, a sense of relaxation, an overwhelming feeling of sleepiness, which is called a nod, an appetite suppression, nausea and vomiting, occasional seizures, and bronchial suppression, which can lead to death by suffocation. While depressants may also be seen as something that can only be used for the recreational value, they also have actual medical uses. The main use for opioids is pain relief, but can also be used for depression or diarrhea. In relation to other depressants, such as the previously mentioned alprazolam or Xanax, it itself can be used to treat anxiety and panic disorder. Okay, last on the list, psychedelics. Psychedelics mainly function as agonists, meaning they bind to receptors in the brain and upregulate their activation in order to produce an enhanced perception of one's environment. A subsidiary of the psychedelic class, ergolines, which include the substance lysergic acid dimethylide, or LSD, achieves its function by agonizing the serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine receptors. This erratic change in the perception of the three main neurotransmission processes in the brain can lead to otherworldly effects. The enunciation of color, taste, and texture are often increased with the use of psychedelics. This also coincides with the immense euphoria and surrealism hallucinogens offer. However, some more adverse effects can occur, such as ego death or the loss of oneself and inner purpose, as well as extreme anxiety, paranoia, and, believe it or not, flashbacks. While psychedelics are not a clinically approved drug type, they have been reported by many who use them to hold certain medicinally beneficial properties. One way people utilize psychedelics in a practical manner is to treat depression, in modest doses of course. They can also be used in a sort of pain-relieving manner, namely in regards to migraines. The moral questionability regarding drugs will always be up for debate, depending on who you're talking to and which direction they lean in regards to the topic in question. However, overall, the double-edged nature of all drugs remain true. They hold many pros and cons depending on how they are used by their user. Whichever direction our society takes when observing these substances, their purpose and effects will continue to ring true, so long as they continue to exist.